And look, I told y'all, when it comes to upstate New York, racist Caucasian people, they love to play games. But guess what? We finally have the cheat codes. The days of them unaliving our people in prisons because they think we don't care, they think we not gonna fight for them, those days are over. And this strike is all a lie. They are not telling the truth. But before I go all the way in on these pig lip, dog breath, racist, Caucasian people, before I go all the way in, check this out.
Job's not worth my life.
Jenna Coton served as a New York State correction officer for 5 years.
And I was attacked in 2022 while working at Attica Correctional Facility, and I have not been back since.
Now she's back with her former co-workers, standing on the picket lines outside of Attica.
Collectively, we said enough is enough, and I want to stress that this was not done lightly. We cannot go back in there right now. And this is not about the money. This is about safety.
This is the fourth day dozens of corrections officers from prisons across the state have refused to go to work. I'm told they're demanding safety and staffing improvements, mainly a repeal of the HALT Act, which limits solitary confinement in prisons.
Due to the HALT bill, there's no repercussions for the inmates' actions anymore.
Yesterday, Governor Hochul activated the National Guard to help run the prisons. Their vehicles can be seen in the parking lot outside of Attica Correctional. Hochul also sending a strong message to those on strike.
Do what's right. Do your jobs.
So what do the people here make of that?
We're not going to listen to her.
And see, they want us to believe that they are the victims. You see the games they play? You see the games the media plays? And she says something very important. Let's play that back.
We cannot go back in there right now. And this is not about the money. This is about safety.
And look, you got to listen closer. You can hear the fear. She said, we cannot go back in there right now. It's not about the money. It's about safety. And see, a lot of people don't realize it's a new day and age. It's 2025. Inmates have cell phones now. Inmates have iPads now. So they can watch YouTube videos. They can watch my videos. They can watch videos with Kia Duggins fighting for them. Seeing people are actually fighting for them well, not for the first time, but they can actually see it for themselves. You don't think that's going to give them confidence? And then not just that. You see 18 correctional officers unalive a black man for 30 minutes. They beat him for 30 minutes. What type of time you think those inmates on? Those inmates are ready for war, but the media won't tell you that, because if they tell you that, if they show you what time the inmates in New York are on, the whole country, prisons all over the country, those inmates will start standing up. You will see inmates in Louisiana, in Angola, they'll start standing up. Inmates in California, they'll start standing up. Inmates in Florida, they'll start standing up. So they can't really show you what the inmates are going through. That's why they have to bring in the National Guards. That's why those correctional officers, those prison workers, they scared to go back inside. It's not about the money. They told them, the governor told them, we'll raise your pay. They said, no, we're still not going back in. You know why? Those inmates are ready for war. It took 18 officers and nurses to unalive Mr. Brooks. You think those inmates not ready? They ready. And I said, nah, don't be scared now. You wasn't scared. You wasn't reporting the beat up squad. You wasn't reporting these correctional officers that was beating up inmates. You wasn't reporting these correctional officers that was unaliving inmates. You know how many stories it is about inmates being unalived by correction officers, and we never hear anything about it. All these decades of these correctional officers unaliving and beating inmates, they never peeped the sound. They never talked about this. Even while this strike is going on, you don't hear none of them talking about Mr. Robert Brooks. You know why? Because that's the reason they out there. They out there because their friends got charged. Those 10 correctional officers in New York got charged. And the day before they got charged, those people went on strike. So the real reason they mad is because their friends got caught and they finally charging, they finally putting belt to ass, and they don't like that. See, they got bail, but to have all those second degree murders, gang related murder, to have all that on your name, that's still not good. That's still not a good look. And they thought the system had their back. They thought they can just beat our people every year, every day, and get away with it. And that video I played at the beginning was from Attica Correctional Facility in New York. But this is what they don't tell you. Check this out. Prisoners at Attica Correctional Facility in New York went on strike in 1971. The strike led to a violent prison riot that was the worst in U.S. history. On September the 9th, 1971, prisoners took control of the prison's exercise yard. Prisoners held 42 staff members hostage. Prisoners issued a manifesto with demands for better food, medical care, and living conditions. So see, this been going on. The real evil people, the real villains are those upstate New York correctional officers. They've been villains since the 70s, probably even before that. And look, I tell people all the time, I said in my video yesterday, you think Mississippi racist? You think Alabama racist? You think Florida racist? You think Louisiana racist? No. Go to Massachusetts, go to Boston, go to upstate New York. You're going to see real racism. You're going to see top tier racism in your face. And shout out to Kia Douglas. That's why I think she was assassinated in a plane crash in DC, because she was speaking on stuff like this. She said, just because someone goes to prison or goes to jail, they shouldn't be treated like a slave. It should be time for rehabilitation. But in America, no, they want them to be treated like slaves. They treat them like slaves. They make money off them. In Louisiana, in Angola, like I say, I got an uncle in Angola. In Angola, they make license plates. They have them making cowhide belts. They have them in the farms, like free labor, paying them nothing. That's what America is about. That's what America been about, slavery. And the prison system is slavery. And they expect us not to speak on stuff like this. They wanted us to let that Robert Brooks case go. If we would have never stood on business, you had protesters in Brooklyn, all over New York, every day. Every week you had people on YouTube. You even had Caucasian people, not the racist ones. You had Caucasian people on YouTube going to the jail that, you know, Mr. Robert Brooks was unalived at, and facing these people. So if it wasn't for us keep applying pressure, they will let these cops go. It was almost 3 months before they put charges. And when they pressed charges on them, when they put charges on them, they got bailed the same day, the same hour. They went right back home. So this is why I make these videos over and over and over. Because guess what? When we break the law, what happens? They never forgive us. You could break the law at 17, catch a felony charge at 17 years old as a black person. And what's going to happen? At 60 years old, they're going to be still reminding you that you are a felon. So when it comes to these correctional officers and nurses that unalive Mr. Brooks, I'm going to remind them every day until they in jail or they get the same treatment that Mr. Robert Brooks got. And then if you watch all these videos of the strike and what these people are talking about, they say they want to get rid of the HALT Act. The HALT Act was enacted in 2022, limiting the duration of solitary confinement to a maximum of 15 days. Additionally, it prohibits the placement of individuals over the age of 55 and those under 21, individuals with disabilities, and pregnant persons in solitary confinement. So basically, these prison workers, they want to be able to lock you up and throw away the key. If they having a bad day, they want to be able to lock you up in solitary confinement and throw away the key. Man, I was on TikTok. If y'all have TikTok, go on TikTok and just put in solitary confinement and hear these stories. You had people in solitary confinement for 30 years. Bro, that's crazy. You had people in solitary confinement for 25, 35, 40 years. Make that make sense. And these guards, these prison workers, they want that law changed. They want that act changed. They want to be able to throw you there for 20 years while they go back home and live life. What? That don't make sense. We ain't going for it. And if you break it all down, they on strike because they want to be able to beat inmates. They want to be able to unalive inmates, and they want to be able to bury inmates alive without any consequences. That's why they really on strike. So that caveman strike is all a distraction from the real trial that's about to happen. Those correctional officers murdered Mr. Robert Brooks, and they didn't realize there'll be protests every day. Whether it's online or whether it's face-to-face. They didn't know that. Those correctional officers murdered Mr. Robert Brooks proudly, and they didn't realize that those inmates will be ready for war. And I'm going to say it, those prison workers are all cowards. So they should be scared. They should be in fear of their safety. They should be worried. If I come to work, will I be able to go home to my family? They should be worried because guess what? Mr. Robert Brooks can never go home to his family. The stories we haven't heard about inmates being unalived by these correctional officers, they'll never be able to go back home to their families, serve their time, and go back home. But y'all get to go home. Y'all make bail. And I hope at the end that y'all get locked up, that y'all get arrested for walking out on your job. I hope y'all get arrested and y'all end up in the same jails, in the same prisons as the people you treated like animals. So to the prison workers that's on strike, you all are nobodies. The governor, she looks at y'all like Caucasian slaves. You can and you will be replaced. They don't care about y'all. And look, Governor Kathy Hochul is not confused about y'all demands. She generally don't give a damn. You a Caucasian, you a racist Caucasian from upstate New York. Like I told y'all, in New York City, no one cares about people outside of New York City. See, I care about my black people in upstate New York. But when it comes to you racist Caucasians, no one care about y'all. They look at y'all as slaves. Y'all the lowest of the lowest. So congratulations, you played yourself. I'm out.